Hello, guys. I am Shane Davis, 20-year comic book veteran. I'm here with Yanzi Lynn, and today is the day we are talking about the American comic book industry once again, as a lot of people are kind of turning with the wind a little bit. And there was a message from Gail Simone, of all people, going back to basics on what we need to do to correct the American comic book industry. But before we get into it, if you guys will, please look down below, hit like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. As let's get a lecture from old Gail Simone on how to save comics. Now, ironically, to me, this is back to basics. I've been a fan of Muay Thai and practiced Muay Thai for over 10 years. And there's one thing, every now and then, people have to get back to the basic fundamentals, because eventually you get off course, you get sloppy, your footing gets off, maybe you drop your guard, and you have to go back to basics every now and then to remind yourself of fundamental things in the sport, such tennis, anything, any type of sports. There's always going back to certain movements that make it achievable to do what you do. So these are 5 things that could and will save the American comic book industry, but they shouldn't be practiced when the ship is sinking. They should always have been in practice. That way the ship wouldn't sink. Let's get into it.
So this list came about when someone on Facebook asked, so what are your pet peeves with the current comic book industry right now? And Gail Simone has this list of 5 things. The first one is very interesting, where she says, not making sure veteran pros have work if they want it. Where was she when Ethan Van Sciver was kicked out for daring to vote as a Republican?
Right.
I mean, he definitely is a veteran. He worked in the industry for over 20 years by that point in time. But yet nobody wanted to give him a job because he was a Trump supporter. So
I'm
now suddenly, though, Gail Simone thinks it's okay to say it is important to make sure veteran pros have work, because guess what? Now she is one of the veteran pros now.
Number one's the one I take the biggest issue with, coming from Gail, because she was one of the creators that kind of threatened to boycott working for Dynamite Entertainment when very visible that they were wanting to get in business and running campaigns, variant campaigns with such CGers as like Cecil, Ethan Van Sciver, Anna that Star Wars girl. Dynamite was making a lot of money from those variant covers, and she wanted to take a stand. She partaked in cancel culture. Okay, so there is that. The other thing that's ironic here, again, she's aged into that veteran pro status, is she's probably not the nice, shiny creator anymore. Not because of being a veteran, but because the diversity pyramid. If you had to choose, and you're practicing the diversity pyramid, live by the sword, die by the sword here, Gail, you were a woman that got you X work by practicing that. But
yes, but now she is contending with all these women who are throwing out labels like I'm trans, I'm non-binary, I am disabled, I am whatever. Gail, you're basically a cis white female at this point. You have not enough labels to compete with them. So, bye-bye. New flavor of the week is T. Franklin, I guess.
Right. And now it circles back to veteran pros should have work. Is that all veteran pros, or just the veteran pros that you choose not to cancel? Think about that. Number 2,
not respecting the stories that came before. Ooh, now suddenly we're saying that the character's history matters. Oh, we can't just take them and break them and say, by the way, Iceman is gay. We can't do that anymore. Oh my goodness. How revolutionary this thinking is. So, guys, we always say that a character's backstory is important, not just for the character development, but also it helps to guide them how they behave, how they react in future storylines. When we start throwing away all the old stories and say they don't matter anymore, but guess what? You end up with this limp-wristed version of some character that people can say he can be anything I want him to be. That means he means nothing.
I'm going to argue it goes a little further than that. When you throw away all those old stories and you pretend like they don't matter anymore, you basically throw away the fans' time and investment in those characters that read and bought those stories. So again, you're not just attacking, at that point, you're not attacking just the character, the old stories, or the creators that did them. You're also the fans that read those stories and appreciated those stories and bagged and boarded those stories. Number 3.
Not allowing the artist room to contribute. Oh my, wasn't this something we talked about just yesterday about how it became a writer's market now? So the artists, unfortunately, are kind of being pushed down. They don't want artists to get spotlight as much, because guess what? Artists create the whole point of comics. Comics is a visual medium. Without the artist, it means nothing. But the
Right.
writer want to talk and say, hey, I know this character so well that I can totally create a whole new version of them and everyone will love me for it. The artist doesn't really matter. He's just there to be a pencil monkey for me. And that seems to be
Right.
a prevalent attitude with a lot of creators these days.
Right. And this is coming from at the time when we're at the tail end of the American comic book industry and the direct market as we know it. And we've been riding this writer market scooter for about, I don't know, maybe 15 years. I don't know. I haven't really counted that up, but it would have been when the trade boom really started. It started to leverage heavy into the writers of the American comic book industry. And again, it's a visual medium. It should be about the artist to some degree. Number 4.
Now, price point is something I take issue with because believe it or not, people want to say, oh, guys, manga has taken over the industry. Well, guess what? I've been following the price of manga books, whether it is in the magazine format or in the individual issue format. The price point has not jumped as drastically as American comic books. They have jumped from, 65 cents all the way up to, now? $6.99, $5.99, whatever it is. In that time period, I would say manga probably only double or triple in price at the very most. So
Right. I mean, I agree with their own price point, but the reality is the less books you sell, the more the price goes up. Printing is one of those things in higher volumes. You're allowed to get the product at a cheaper price. So it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you're making unreadable books and you're driving fans away, you are not going to be able to get the same price break on printing because you're selling less copies now. So it's all relative. Number 5.
Lack of distribution options. Oh, gee, I wonder who made that issue. One retailers complain about basically how they deserve to have the first to market option, basically with floppies and stuff. They didn't want to have to compete with all these other people. So it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy at this point, isn't it?
I have issues with this one because I feel like between digital, which never took off, by the way, and Amazon, you really have to put all these things together. I would argue that we actually have more distribution. And Gail herself had led and written for Walmart a flash book with when DC Comics was doing the books for Walmart. Now, of course, that was a piss poor publishing initiative that didn't really turn out. But Gail was talking about rolling dice and playing board games and stuff instead of telling people to go buy her book at Walmart. It didn't really make sense. Why even hire Gail? And why not advertise the product that you're being hired to do? Instead, you're using your big social media platform to go block creators that you dub in a group that you dislike and stuff like that. Why not get out there and help your book sell when you do get one of these big deals with Walmart? That was a distribution option for you. You didn't nurture it, so it kind of went away, Gail. Think about that. A lot of comic creators don't appreciate their social media reach and selling their product too much. But guys, let us know below. I actually agree with all of Gail's points here. I just think there's a bit of a hypocrisy here. And I really think we're going to see more and more of this, creators that had a hand in killing the American comic book industry that we know it, coming up with talking points like this that are back to basics and throwing it in our face like that. This is like they've been saying it the whole time, as they, their actions spoke different. If you guys will, please go check out Axcend Level Up. It closes down in 6 days, $86,698, getting ready to move up on $87,000 as we're closing in on $90,000. If you guys will, please go check this out. This is a really fun superhero story. 3 video gamers go into a virtual reality world game, and when they log out, they bring the game into the real world with real consequences. Check out this trailer for Axcend Level Up.
I dream of a world carefully crafted, beautifully flawed. This is Axcend. In this game of life, there is one thing that determines a victor. A player's ability to grow. A player's ability to evolve. A player's ability to survive. My name is Dog. Choose to play. Choose to upgrade. Choose to level up. Choose to to Axcend.